Hi there. My name is Holly Haynes, and I'm a business strategist who helps you build a full-time business on a part-time schedule. And in this episode of the Crush the Rush podcast live, it is very unscripted. So I'm sharing a personal journey of redefining success really after that corporate hustle culture. So walking away from my corporate job and really embracing the mentality of a slower pace. And so I discuss how this shift has impacted our business and our well-being. And I share some things about the power of saying no, the importance of rest, and how to really define your entrepreneurial success on your own terms. So I can't wait for you to listen to this episode. Make sure to join in on the conversation and let's redefine what it means to be a CEO together. Hello there, and welcome to this week's Friday Pep Talk. If I'm being honest, and I've shared this every once in a while behind the scenes, a lot of times we plan these episodes ahead of time. As an example, we just got done with the whole series all about designing your own CEO week. If you haven't listened to it, you should. We strategically planned it around the summer so you can get your time back and basically design a business where it gets to be both. It gets to be profitable, but you also get to spend time on doing things that you love. And so one of the things that came out of that series and me personally, intentionally, I want to say slowing down, but it wasn't really slowing down. It was just intentionally planning ahead. So I had more white space on my calendar, was this whole concept of what came to me sort of in the middle of the night was this slow CEO revolution. And when I tell you this, I will tell you that this specific podcast episode wasn't planned. What we've been doing lately is planning ahead of time, just like the series. Everything's been SEO friendly, and we've gotten really great responses from all the things that we've been doing behind the scenes because it's been strategically planned, but this wasn't. And I broke all my rules because I was like, I have to share this, which is the whole purpose of having a podcast platform. So basically, last week, this is real time, I sat down to write our Friday newsletters. It is one of the things that is a non-negotiable in our business. So what that means is I send an email out at least once a week, and then I put a podcast episode out at least once a week. And anyways, if you are any of our communities, I talk about this Friday email as our personal email strategy, right? So it's a newsletter, but I don't call it a newsletter because basically what I do is I tell a story of what's going on in our business, things that we're loving, things that are working. And it's very, very personal. I usually write it the day before. And it's been really fun to use email as a way to get to know you and our audience and connect with you. Anyways, I'm writing the email, and my next step was to plan the next series of podcasts for this month. And I was like, I have to share this. So what I was thinking was, gosh, my life is so different than it was 4 years ago. How do I even start to share what this summer is like, or has been like? Because if you have followed me, you know that I had a 22-year corporate strategy career working for Fortune 500 companies. I spent the last 2 years of that career also building my business. And then the last recent 2 years, so 2023 and 2024, have been working full time in my business, but on a very part-time schedule. And so I'm writing my email. I promise I'm going to get to the story here. I'm writing my email and I'm like, I really want to share what this summer is going to be like. And how do I share this? And all I kept thinking of was when I was in corporate, I had a pillow that my friend and I had in our office, and it said, every day I'm hustling, because that was basically what I was taught. I was taught that more work equals more success. When you talk about who you are and what you do, it's always around, at least in the United States, it's always around your career and what you've accomplished. And I just remember, I just was sitting writing my email for the week, and I was like, my life is nothing nothing like this anymore. Like it could not be further from this pillow, but also when I introduce myself, I'm not really talking about all of my accomplishments. I'm talking about all of my experiences. And that is where this slow CEO revolution came from. So part of this actually comes from going back to what I was saying is like when you introduce yourself in the United States, we introduce ourselves as like, hey, I'm Holly. I'm a corporate strategist, right? When you're in Europe or overseas or in a different country, you just simply introduce yourself and start a conversation. And I feel like as I was writing this email, I'm like, I currently feel like we are so wrapped up in our titles and what other people think that we are nervous to share like what we actually want to do. And I feel like it's really important to share this because, and I'm getting to the point now, the term slow for me has like a negative connotation. And I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot name a podcast The Slow CEO. Like that has such a negative connotation, but does it, right? So what if it's okay for it to be slow? What if it's okay for it to be calm? What if it's okay to be a season where you're not working 72 hours a week? Like what if slow wasn't a bad word? So that's what I ended up writing my email about. And I know it took me a while to get to that story, but I just wanted to share like behind the scenes of this season because my corporate self is like, this is so freaking weird, right? And instead of jumping into mindset or creating new funnels or doing more work this summer, I was like, I am going to be mindful of my time, period. So what that looked like is 4 to 6 hours of work a week. Going into the fall to go up a little bit more, but honestly, I kind of don't want it to. And so I'm like, okay, how do I keep this going? But here's what it looked like this summer. And again, the whole concept of this slow CEO revolution is it's not that you're not growing. I would argue you're probably actually growing more because you're focusing more on yourself, but it's not stressful. It's calm. Maybe I should call it the calm CEO. But this is what it's going to look like and what it has looked like. So first, we scheduled a time where there is 1 week a month with no meetings, and we're keeping that. Like that happened this summer. The last week of every month, there's no meetings, and we're going to keep that going forward. 1 week a quarter is a full vacation week. We did that this summer multiple times. I want to keep that going forward. Every weekend, I log off social media. We're definitely going to keep that going forward. And if I'm being honest, I've spent way less time on social. My rule of thumb is to create more than you're consuming. So if you're in a phase of life where you're not creating a lot, you have to consume way less because then you get in this like comparison factor. And then here's the game changer of the summer was every day for 1 hour, I do something for myself. Now, like I said, to be honest, this sounds really good on paper, but when it came time to actually doing it, it felt weird and awkward. And I was like, should I really be doing this? Can I not do the things that I've done for 22 years? And so it does force you to be really comfortable with asking yourself this question: what do you really want? What do you really want to be doing? What do you really want to be creating? Because if you only have, let's say, an hour a week to create, then you need to focus on that. And so on the flip side, I'm calling it the slow CEO revolution because what it's doing is it's helping me focus on the things that I really want to do. So my non-negotiable is the podcast. But the podcast got much better, I think, this summer because it was the one thing that I was focused on. And so I really want to encourage you by sharing this story to really think about like what brings you joy in your business and what is that like ultimate schedule that you want? It doesn't matter if it's summer or fall or whatever season it is, right? Like my goal was to take a vacation, to watch more movies, to take a nap. Like I actually took a nap yesterday and I remember laying down and I was like, should I take a nap? Is this okay? Like, I'm still questioning. And if to me, it's like, well, if you want to, why not? Right. And I've read so much more, like read for fun, which I actually went to therapy today before recording this podcast. And I was like, I haven't read a business book in, I can't tell you when. Now, I did just start reading one, but most of the summer was just embracing like what felt good. And I'll share this because the crazy part is the work didn't stop. It just got reprioritized. So again, there were some really key projects that I spent my time on, but the rest of the time was spent sort of figuring out like what I wanted to do next. So behind the scenes, we are revamping our membership. So we did a client survey. We haven't revamped the membership yet, but we took steps that we can do it. We planned the rest of the year, which felt really good, especially if you can like sit outside and you can change your environment and you can be in a place that feels really inspiring. We poured our hearts into our current clients, which is an awesome strategy. We talk about the 80-20 rule all the time. But especially in maybe a shifting economy, like pour your heart and soul into people that are already your biggest fans. It always works. So we did that. We launched a Christmas in July campaign, which honestly just felt fun. I don't know if you read the emails, but they were really fun to write. And then I embraced my anti-social plan. If you're on our email list, I've been sharing that, but I've been networking more. I've been going to dinner with friends. I've been looking at speaking engagements and really just thinking like what feels good. And I know this is like a little bit different than our sort of normal Friday pep talks. But the crazy thing is in between that, there was like basement cleaning. We're growing like a ton of vegetables and we have like 17 jars of pickles that I made. So we're like testing recipes. We have a dahlia garden. We actually have 4 dahlia gardens. So I've been like making flower arrangements every day. The girls and I are drawing chalk masterpieces on the driveway. And honestly, I'm finally putting my health first. I started a new workout program. I went to a functional medicine doctor. I've been doing therapy. Like these are things in my corporate life that felt stressful to fit in. And so now it's like, what if you made those the priority? What would happen to your business? Because you're taking care of yourself first, right? So I like to think the slow CEO revolution is embracing the word slow as a positive word, but also thinking about if you could put what you want to do first, how is that then in turn going to inspire you to grow your business? So again, I wrote an email about this at the time this airs. It'll be a couple weeks ago, but my biggest business moves always don't come from more work. They come from more fun, more creativity, and more slowness. And so I just wanted to like pause on the, the detailed strategy talk, which I know you love. I love it as well. And just talk about like slowness is a word, right? And I had to change my guilt around using it. It's okay to be slow, to appreciate what you have going on, and to take the time to figure out what you actually want to do. So I'm super curious as I have shared this personal story, like what does the concept of slow CEO mean to you, right? I would love it if you would just share that with me. It gets, I would say a little awkward sometimes sharing all these behind the scenes, but it's what's truly happening. And the way that I learn is to hear what others are doing. So I hope this helped you. If you are embracing your slow CEO revolution and sort of breaking up with that corporate mindset, send me a DM. Let me hear your story. And trust me, I did not think that this schedule was possible either, just a few short years ago, but you can have both. So I really want this to inspire you of what redefining a CEO really means. What does it mean to you?